I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. November 2nd for the drawdown, and they're going to be drawing it down about 1.5 feet. The next one is Namaski Lake, which is controlled by Kelly Falls Dam. And it's also on Piscataqua, but the dam is in Manchester. The start of the drawdown is October 14th, and estimated is they'll draw that down 3 feet. So, and then we have another one, which is, make a note about the Once Upon a Pie competition, which is held by the Goffstown Public Library Foundation. And that's Saturday, November 23rd, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Goffstown High School. Pie drop-off for entrance is 9:30 a.m. to 12. For more information, go to gplnhfoundation.org/events. And to enter, okay, this will be a good one, it's bit.ly/GPLF 2024 lower space or / pie entry PDF. There's no fee to enter. Now, if you want to go and indulge in the pie, it's $3 a slice, or you can bid on the whole pie.
What time was that, Peter, on the 23rd?
It is the
23rd?
chow down is on, it's on the 23rd
Yeah.
from 6 to 8.
Thank you.
Now, call us if you're going to make a pie. You got to be there, a little earlier. You got to be there between 9:30 and 12.
Okay, got it.
One more announcement that I have. I'd like to announce the Halloween will be on October 31st from 6 to 8. Again, Halloween will be, trick-or-treating will be on October 31st from 6 to 8. Kelly, I think you wanted to bring up something?
Yeah, for an announcement on Friday, this past Friday, Selectman LeMay, Town Hall staff, and members of the police department and dispatchers attended the New Hampshire Congressional Law Enforcement Awards, of which 5 of our staff members were recognized. Lieutenant Mitchell, Lieutenant Pinard, Sergeant LaRoche, Sergeant Babcock, and Officer Shabbat, and they received an award for going above and beyond the call of duty. So it was a great event, and we were happy to all be there to celebrate them. So congratulations again.
Congratulations to them.
Congratulations. Well done.
Next up is public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Town Administrator's report?
Yes.
Tab
10
6.
Starts at tab 6. You have your committee meeting scheduled for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. There's a joint budget committee and school board for budget presentations at Goffstown High School.
I will be there.
And sewer commission will be at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Thursday of this week, the planning board will be meeting in this room at 7 p.m.
I have that covered.
Thank you. Just a reminder that next Monday is Columbus Day. The town hall and DPW offices will be closed. The transfer station will be closed this coming Saturday, October 12th. And we will work with DPW to get that information posted on the town website, as well as the different Facebook accounts.
How about trash pickup?
Trash pickup next week will be on schedule. There will be
Okay.
no change to trash curbside collection. And the Goffstown Public Library will be open on Monday. On Tuesday of next week, the Budget Committee will do a facility tour of Parks and Rec starting at Barnard Park at 6 p.m.
I'll be there.
On Wednesday at 6 p.m., the Goffstown River Advisory Committee will meet here at Town Hall.
I have that covered.
At 6:30 p.m., the Library Board of Trustees will meet at the Public Library.
Yep.
And then on Thursday, the Select Board, you have a meeting at 6 p.m. We have a public hearing scheduled for that evening.
I will not be there
Okay.
for that meeting.
On your next page, you have the consent agenda. You have an employee status report. You have a full-time police sergeant, successful completion of probationary period, full-time DPW laborer, you have a discharge, per diem EMT, and that's a discharge due to unsuccessful probationary period. You have a per diem EMT, new hire. You have a full-time firefighter resignation. And added today, we have a per diem election worker. This is a change of duties. This is to bring somebody into the office to help with the onslaught of absentee ballot requests that we've received. You have a New Hampshire 911 data operations liaison form naming Fire Chief Murray as a primary liaison and Deputy Fire Chief Selleck as a secondary liaison. You have event permits for Bartlett Elementary School Halloween Parade on October 31st and the Maple Ave Elementary School Halloween Parade on October 31st. Both of those are in the areas of the schools. And then you have an out-of-state travel notification from the fire chief attending the New England Association of Fire Chiefs Training Conference.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? I have one question for the chief. The 911, yeah, if you can- I just want to bring up the 911 Penadville thing again, that's all. And see if we're still trying to pursue.
Making any headway on it?
Yeah, see if that's still something we can pursue. As you know, in the past, we've had 911 issues with Penadville and mix-up of addresses.
Right.
Are we making any headway, or are we even trying to make any headway on getting that fixed?
I wasn't fully aware of, I see the advertisements on TV and stuff, but I can go back in Bill's record and see what I can find and work on it.
Because it goes through the post office, am I right?
So are you asking about the zip code issue?
Yeah.
That was always handled by the town administrator's office, and the request could go in once every 10 years. I would have to look back in the records.
We've got to be getting close.
It might have been, I think it was when Sue was still here, but it might have been 2016 or 2015, but I can look and see and provide you a status of when it was last done.
And we should try, keep trying,
Okay.
We've had occasional issues, not too much lately, but that I know of.
I haven't heard any or had any complaints.
So, all right, thank you. Can we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda? Any further questions or discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
On your next page, you have committee volunteer recommendations. The Conservation Commission has recommended Courtney Carter as an alternate member with a term expiring March 31st, 2026.
I'll make,
Motion to appoint Courtney Carter as an alternate member of the Goffstown Conservation Commission with a term expiring March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Collins, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
The Library Board of Trustees met on October 2nd and made a recommendation to appoint Jordan Willow Evans as a member of the Library Board of Trustees. It's a term expiring March 31st, 2025. but this will actually be on the ballot and up for election at the next election.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jordan Willow Evans as a member of the Library Board of Trustees with a term expiring March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Any discussion?
Just a correction in the wording, it says Met Conservation Commission.
Yes.
10/2/24, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
We're still back to the library trustee?
Yes, just the
All in
vote.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
And then the Parks and Recs Commission met on September 19th and had two recommendations. One was to appoint Eric Emmerling as a member of the Parks and Rec Commission with a term expiring March 31st, 2025, and a motion to appoint Daniel McInnes as an alternate member with a term expiring March 31st, 2025.
Move to appoint F. Eric Emmerling as a member of the Goffstown Parks and Recreation Commission with a term expiring March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
Move to appoint Daniel McGinnis as a alternate member of the Goffstown Park and Recreation Commission with a term expiring March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Sim, seconded by Collis. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
Your next page, you have a memo from the Finance Office. This is last week, actually 2 weeks ago now, we met with the Rotary Club to finalize the purchase of Rotary Park. That deed has been recorded. And what you have before you is a request for a disbursement from the Land Acquisition Capital Reserve Fund to offset the $5,000 purchase price. So basically reimburse the general fund for that purchase.
Motion to approve the release of $5,000 from the Land Acquisition Capital Reserve Fund to offset expenses incurred in relation to the purchase of map 34, lot 164A, and reimburse the town's general fund.
Second.
Motion by Collis, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
At tab 6E, you have an amended MS1 summary inventory evaluation. On September 18th, Eversource filed an amended PA 81, which is their report of utility value. So there is now an increase in the town's valuation. And we would just ask for the board to approve that and then sign off so we can send up to DRA. That'll be one of the final items as we move towards tax rate setting in the next couple of weeks.
Do they pay per poll?
They have a value per poll, so they're not paying per poll, but there is a value in the polls that they, and the public right of way that they use, as well as the stations and everything else.
Derek, are all the polls valued the same? I'm just curious, or does it vary depending upon location?
I would have to ask the assessor, but I can maybe have him
Just curious.
summarize it and send a message out to you of
Thank you.
how he does or how they do that.
Thank you.
I'd be curious to know, because on West Union, they have two poles. They never
Yeah.
took down the old poles. I mean.
Well, a lot of times the electrical service, they put the new pole in and then they have to wait for everybody to transfer over.
But it's really narrow with the sidewalks
Yes.
down
Yep.
there, so
Yep.
I don't know if there's any way we could put pressure on them to get moving on that
I could
project.
talk to Adam at DPW about
Yeah.
that.
So you need a motion on this one?
Yes, please, so it'd be to approve the amended 2024 MS1.
I'll make a motion, we accept the amended 2024 MS1 for summary inventory evaluation.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Tab 6F, I'd ask Danielle to come up. And this is for some changes to retiree insurance plan changes. As you'll recall, one of our retirees came in at public comment about a month ago to speak to this, and then Danielle can provide you more information.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We have two different items to discuss tonight regarding the retiree insurance. One is the new plan that the Health Trust is implementing. It's the Medicare Advantage plan. This is a wraparound plan for retirees who are on Medicare. And this plan, the point of it is the Health Trust went out to Anthem and custom designed a plan that would supplement Medicare. And by doing this, they were able to use their volume essentially in the wide network of retirees to collect all of the retirees that would be on this plan into one comprehensive plan, which helps them get a locked-in rate and helps move retirees off of individual groups' rating structures. Because retirees typically have higher cost claims in their scope of care. So that's going to be going into effect in January of 2025. We do need a motion, which you'll see suggested at the end of the next page of your packet, for the board to authorize Derek to sign the transmittals for us to adopt that plan. This plan is replacing what was previously known as the Medicomp with prescription plan. So that's the first part. The second part is, while this plan is replacing the Medicomp with prescription, the Health Trust still has people on what they call Medicomp without prescription. And that plan is a little bit up in the air right now. The Health Trust has said that the town has the ability to authorize grandfathering to allow retirees to stay on that without prescription plan. If they do, they will remain on our ratings rather than grouped with the retirees. And they haven't made it clear if they're ever going to sunset that plan or when they might do that. They've said it is possible, but they don't have any specific timeline in mind. So rate adjustments will continue to occur annually to that plan, just as they would for any other plan that we offer. So my recommendation at this time, we do have 24 retirees that take that plan, would be to allow them to grandfather in while we can, and we can reevaluate that each year when we adjust our plan offerings.
And if a plan comes up in the meantime, we'll be able to, like, next January, offer that plan. If you said.
Yeah, if they made a change
Yeah.
to the plan offerings, yep, we could reevaluate that each year.
And can you just speak to what the school district chose to do?
Sure. The school district had made their decision. They did extend grandfathering for their retirees. So that's something that most of the employers actually within the Health Trust groups have done. They've agreed to allow the grandfathering, especially since we don't know what the impact truly is going to be of those claims being shifted over. I had asked the Health Trust for information about what our claims history has been, and they didn't have the information available at that detailed level to be able to break out really what impact 24 individuals would have on our ratings.
Can they only opt in or opt out, opt out once a year? Or-
Yes, yeah, during open enrollment or when they actually make the retirement, they will not allow anybody new to go on to this plan. So it's only individuals that are already on the plan. If somebody retires in January of 25, their only available plan option would be this new Medicare Advantage plan, or they could choose to leave the group and find their own insurance.
Anybody got anything else? Good questions? Motion?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the town administrator to sign the transmittal for the Medicare Advantage with prescription drug plan.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Any more further
Just,
questions?
yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Are the benefits the same for the
As
new
the-
plan as the old plan?
It's actually a little better because it's a custom design plan. They went through and itemized their list against, where there were gaps between what Medicare covers and what the wraparound plan was doing.
So they're gonna pay 30 to 70% less and get better benefits?
Yes, because they were able to lock in that large volume. The Health Trust covers something just under 140, I think, different municipal political subdivisions and groups.
And anything we do here is not going to cost the town any extra money that we're not already...
Correct, yeah, the retirees pay directly to the health trust. It just gives them a locked-in rate for 2 years.
Good.
Anybody else? Okay, we had a motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Any more further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Do you want a secondary motion for the
Yeah.
grandfathering?
Motion to submit necessary notifications to the Health Trust to allow existing retirees on the Medicomp without RX plan to remain on that plan until the plan is either eliminated by the town or the Health Trust.
Second.
That goes back to my question. They can opt out of it if they want to go to the new plan.
They certainly could, yep.
Okay.
They can make that change. And some of the retirees have said, well, I'll consider it, but I want to know what the rate's going to be for my existing plan, which
Right,
Health
well, that
Trust
makes
will
sense.
announce soon.
Well, just the way this motion is, it doesn't tell them that they can opt, doesn't say they can opt out, but now that I've asked the question, it's in the record, we know they
We
can.
know they can, yep.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Thank you.
And your final tab under the town administrator's report is the Invest NH Municipal Per Unit Grant. Just a reminder to the select board, it says in your packet, sorry, there's a typo on the date, but on October 2nd of last year, 2023, the board voted to provide a sub-grant to the developers of Woodland Village of the amount of $210,000. As you're all aware, there's been some changes with who is going to finish up and develop that project. But working with New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority, that $210,000 amount was very critical in continuing to move that project forward. At this point, they do have contractors on site and they are picking up. Phase 1, the first half of it, they expect that Phase 1 to be completed by December of this year. And Joanne Duffy in the planning office advised me today that it looks like Agnos.
Dick Anagnost.
His companies will be taking over the completion of the project as well as the management of the project moving forward. So it's back on track to get that project finished up. So what you have in your packet this evening is if the board wishes to continue on with the disbursement of the $210,000 from the municipal per unit grant funds. In your packet, you have an agreement between the town of the Goffstown and WV Owner LLC for the administration of the municipal grant funding, and then this would be provided to the development in the form of a 30-year zero-interest promissory note. Because that's how they need the funds in that manner, so that they qualify for some of the federal tax credits and so all the other financing work is out. This is very similar to how the town sponsored the CDBG grant for the meeting house in the old high school back in the 90s. That's one that we have a 30-year promissory note, and which is actually getting close to coming due.
I was gonna say, it must be getting almost there.
Yeah, at some point, here pretty soon. But that is their preferred way to receive the funds. So it would be a zero interest, and when the 30 years, they would either come back and repay the town, or they would work out some other type of agreement at that time.
Derek, can you just clarify, so the disbursement is going to an entity known as WV Owner?
Yes,
LLC?
that is going to be that's really Woodland Village Owner.
That's her actual name, just these little...
Yeah,
block.
that's gonna be the ownership
Okay.
interest in the project is gonna be WV Owner LLC.
Thank you.
So weren't they like over a couple $1 million in the hole, a couple of years?
We never, yes, yeah,
Are they?
yes.
They're out of the hole?
So what I've been told is Mr. Anagnos's company has come and take over this one, as well as one in Concord, the rail yard up there. They were doing other affordable housing units up there, and he's taken over both of those projects.
Dakota went belly up. I mean, they filed.
I'm not sure what the status of.
Yeah,
They're a very
that's
big
what I was
company.
told. And they walked away from the two projects.
But
Annex not paying the money back. VW was,
yes.
So they get the money when the project's done though, right?
They
Or,
get the project when they meet the conditions of the grant agreement, so, and actually, we're getting close to that point where they'll be meeting those, but with those, phase one being move-in ready, hopefully in December, we would be dispersing those funds pretty soon, because we do need to have those funds allocated, and this will help us just make sure that those funds are allocated before the December 31st, 2024 deadline for those ARPA funds.
And we got a good percentage of that money also we used.
The total was $630,000 that the town received, so this was a third of it that you decided to set aside for this project, and then the other ones, the departments have been doing other projects, and then you'll see some RFPs at your next meeting for some of the final projects related to those funds.
Okay, you need a motion?
Yes, you have a suggested motion in the middle there.
Motion to authorize this disbursement of $210,000 to the owner of Woodland Village Phase 1 WV Owner LLC in support of the construction of 42 units affordable housing development, and to authorize the select board chairman to sign the municipal per unit grant agreement on the promissory note.
second.
Mark, can you repeat that? Just kidding.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor made by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
And you have you have two public hearings at 6:30. They're at tab 7A and 7B, so if you perhaps would want to go through what the purpose of each of the public hearings are, and then at that point will be about 6:30.
Just about time to do it, right?
Yep.
Pursuant to RSA 41:14-B, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input on the proposed ordinance entitled Stop Sign on Joppa Hill Road at the intersection at Back Mountain Road. To install a stop sign on Joppa Hill Road at the intersection of Back Mountain Road, requiring that all drivers stop on Joppa Hill at Back Mountain at all times. This is the first of two public hearings. The second public hearing will be held Monday, October 22nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. You gonna-
October 28th, Peter.
Yeah, on October 28th, on 2024 at 6 p.m. Is that what you,
And that one should be 6:30 p.m. I'm
Okay.
sorry. That one is actually, we had noticed that in the paper and the website. The second one is actually at 6:30 p.m.
so this one's at 6:30?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anybody here to discuss the stop sign on Joppa Hill and Back Mountain Road? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, we'll continue it on to October 28th at 6:30 p.m. The next one is pursuant to RSA 41:14-B, the Goffstown Select Board will be conducting this public hearing to accept public input on a proposed ordinance entitled Electioneering at the Polling Places Ordinance. The purpose of this ordinance is to protect the safety and rights of voters and others at the polling places and allow for the uninterrupted movement of voters and vehicles by placing reasonable restrictions on the locations at which distribution and display of campaign materials and electioneering may occur, and on vehicles parking at the polling places. This is the first of two public hearings. The second public hearing will be held on Thursday, October 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Goffstown Town Hall. The Select Board is scheduled to vote on this ordinance on Monday, October 28th. Is there anybody here to speak to this ordinance? Seeing, go ahead, Ronnie.
Just very briefly, Rod Stark, town moderator. I support the adoption of this ordinance. It basically gives the town, specifically the police, some authority, some enforcement authority with respect to electioneering matters, and particularly parking can and be a problem, and it's likely to be a problem in November, because we'll have a lot of people. So there's some provisions in this proposed ordinance having to do with, parking that are very important, and there's some authority now, will be, on the part of the police to adequately police and enforce this parking ordinance. I think it's very important. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
I want to read into the record, I do have a letter here, and it's from Rosemary Gerritsen. Everybody knows Rosemary, she's participated in the town elections for a lot of years. She says, it goes, "Hi Peter, I'm unable to attend the public meeting to be held Monday night regarding the electioneering/parking ordinance. I have a couple of comments regarding this ordinance and would request that they be read into the minutes. I understand the need of this ordinance and fully support the idea. However, I have some concerns regarding the areas being considered for the high school election workers to park. The upper parking lot is a good idea for the morning contingent who are able to navigate the hill and the long walk to the high school back entrance. I don't believe that area is the best interest of safety of the afternoon contingent or who are there all-day workers. It is dark by 7 p.m. When the polls close and the workers not staying for the count are headed out to their cars. I realize there are lights out there, but feel that some of our workers will not feel at all safe and in an unfamiliar area. You must remember that a large number of our workers are elderly and the majority are women. My other concern is the physical ability to navigate the hill and the distance from the lot to the back door. I personally have a walking disability and could not make that walk. It's all I can do to make it from the lower parking lot entrance to the closest to the cafeteria entrance. I suspect that there may be other workers in a similar situation. Therefore, I suggest that the afternoon all day and those walking problems be given some sort of a parking pass, a placard to be placed inside the windshield, for instance, for exemption from parking in the upper lot. And that comes from Rosemary Gerritsen, 7 Lusco Park. I thought we had talked about some kind of handicap parking at one time, didn't we?
We did, and I think the ordinance as written allows the moderator to designate which spots will be for temporary parking for those voting versus election workers, and I think he could make provisions for
Accommodations. Anybody else? Yeah, Mark?
I spoke with Kathy today. I don't know if Kathy had time to talk to you or not, Derek, but I had made mention that we make some sort of a emblem or a design to the people that are coming in to work, place it on the dash of their car so that they won't be targeted or anything like that, but they'll know that they're working.
We could figure something out, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here from the public? Anybody else here from the public? I'll close the public hearing. And again, we'll take this up again on October 17th at 6 p.m. don't know where we want, but does anybody have a chance to look at the policy against harassment for elected officials? I took it home and read it. Go ahead. Jump, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to update something real quick if Derek wouldn't mind. So Derek went ahead and did some research for me pertaining to investigations and things like that within our legal authority and what we should and shouldn't mention. Derek, would you mind giving an update on that, please?
Yeah, so New Hampshire is not a home rule state. We need to find where in state law or the state constitution where the town has power to do something. I did reach out to NHMA, and they said that there would be no enforcement authority for the town or the select board to actually enforce a sexual harassment policy on appointed or elected officials. There is a provision in state law for a conflict of interest ordinance, but that is reserved for town meeting. That is not something that the select board could do. Even though the town meeting has given the authority to the select board to adopt ordinances following the procedure that we did tonight, that one is specifically, it's very specific that it's only for the voters at town meeting. There are some towns and cities in New Hampshire that do have harassment or sexual harassment policies, or they have code of conduct policies that provide for a removal of elected or appointed officials, and they really have that authority because they've accepted they've adopted a city charter or a town charter that provides some ability to do that. So I think any harassment policy that the board adopts, I just want you to understand that the enforcement, there would be no enforcement through this board. What you could do is you could provide resources to somebody that I guess is complaining that it's occurred to them and point them in the right direction of where they can get assistance, but it wouldn't be appropriate necessarily. And I think it would be also very difficult to provide an employee with some type of investigation process unless they were doing it as perhaps the police department or something else.
So Derek and I went back and forth on it, and kind of what we decided, or what we discussed might be a better course of action for us is similarly to how in the code of conduct there's recommendations for elected officials, that be included there. Obviously, discouraging inappropriate behavior. Again, disappointed that we even have to think about that, but I think it's something that we should add, and like Derek mentioned, making resources available to anyone who feels like they've experienced this kind of behavior from another elected official.
But that would still allow somebody, if they thought they were sexually harassed, to pursue it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Right, it just removes
I just don't want to put it where, well, the town says that this, so it's, if it was to go to some kind of a litigation that, well, the town policy is this, when it really, I don't know, just don't want to involve the town in getting into that kind of litigation. I don't know if that's a good way to look at it. I gotta think of it now,
The recommendation from me is to remove that portion, talking about any kind of investigation, but a general discouragement similar to the rest of our code of conduct.
So all we can do is investigate and say, don't do it again, or?
We can investigate.
Well, the way it was presented at the last meeting was that it would go to the town administrator, and I don't know, right now our personnel policy deals with that, because as an employer, there are laws against harassment in the workplace, and those do need to be investigated. But when you're talking about between elected officials and either residents or two elected or appointed officials, I don't think it's appropriate for an employee to be investigating that. And I'm not certain, especially since there's nothing in state law that allows the town to enforce anything, that the town would even, I don't know that you would want the town investigating
Well, I'm
that.
thinking the same thing. Why should we investigate and then do nothing, and then we look like, well, they're weak and they're not doing anything, and they're not gonna do anything?
Well, that's why
We
I'm
just-
saying take the investigation component out of
Take
it.
the whole thing out, right? So.
And I think what Vice Chair, if I can, sorry to speak for you,
No,
but
go ahead.
it's almost, this is what the standard of conduct is recommended. When somebody doesn't follow that standard of conduct, here are the resources that somebody can pursue.
Yeah, so we don't have anything to do with that, right? The board?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Either we can do something if we're involved, or if we can't do anything, why should we be involved? I guess that's
Yeah.
what my feeling is.
So my suggestion would be to write something up and bring it back to us complete, so we know exactly what we're looking at.
And I didn't get to
Is
work
that
on it
okay?
until later this afternoon. I have started a red line of, because Kelly sent me an email this morning on which direction to kind of move in. So I can provide that, and we can have that at a future meeting when all members will be here.
Okay. So we'll just continue that, then, continue this discussion. Anything else? How about old business?
You had a couple of things, Peter, if I could.
Got a whole bunch of,
Yep.
go through this. Go ahead, you want to update us on the committee meetings?
Yeah, a couple of them. First is the Village Bridge Ad Hoc Committee. We did meet, we were planning to man a table at the Pumpkin Weekend, as we did last year, if you recall, a small table with a handout. Derek, I think Andy sent you along
He did.
the handout.
Yep.
And so we can make that available to board members. So that'll be going on this weekend as it was this year as it was last year. And the other one was the River Advisory Committee. We met for our first meeting, and the charter said we were supposed to identify, well, the chair was already identified in the thing. That would be the Select Board Liaison, which was me. And then also identify a vice chair and a scribe. So they identified Andy Carteret to be the vice chair. He graciously accepted, and identified Dia Stoltz to serve as a scribe, and she graciously accepted with some assistance from Derek, who's prepared a very nice little document, a worksheet, if you will, as to what the meetings are going to entail, so it'll make it a lot easier for Dia. So she graciously agreed to do that for the committee. So that's off and running. We're meeting on the 16th of October. We've invited Corey Clark from DES to be our guest speaker. We have a spot on our typical agenda for guest speakers. In this case, it would be Corey. He has graciously accepted to do that and make a presentation to the committee. It'll be very similar to the presentation he made if you went to the meeting in the high school last week. Very similar to that, only a little more informal, but provide the same information relative to the dams and whatnot, and provide more of an informal question and answer opportunity for members of the committee to engage. So that's an important first meeting that's been scheduled. Did I leave anything out, Derek?
I don't think so.
I think that hit it all. Oh, and we're going to meet I think I mentioned the third Tuesdays?
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesdays, third Wednesday of the month.
That's a busy, Wednesdays are busy, don't they?
Well, not the third one.
That one was actually the only other one that
Second and
is,
fourth.
yeah,
The fourth,
Second, fourth, and first all have the
Yeah.
meetings.
yeah.
the third wasn't that bad.
No.
Thank you,
Mark?
Derek. Thanks for your help on that, Derek.
Question directed at Derek. Have we had any luck with the minute taker yet? People are
Oh,
starting to
yeah.
wondering if we're going to do anything about it.
So we have a member of the planning board that's interested that I need to speak with to
Okay.
see if he's interested with that. And then we're going, and we've had a couple other people reach out that we just need to sit down and see what their background is and if they can meet the demands of the position.
Thank you.
We haven't advertised
So-
any place, have we?
No, we have not.
But we've got a
Should we?
job
Yep.
description, the responsibilities, all the other stuff that we.
So it's never been done as a job for the last 15 or so years. It's been done as a contractual a contracted
Service,
position, a
yeah.
contracted service, so we'll do a similar one to that.
So it'll be advertised that way?
Yep, we will.
When will the advertisement go out to me?
We can get that out this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah, get that out of the way.
Yeah, I hear it every planning board meeting, I'm sure I'll hear it on Thursday.
Yeah. And I hear it, how come we haven't got one yet? So-
Yeah.
Anything else? Is there anything on for non-public that you have?
Yes, we have one for A, compensation,
Yep.
and I need to add in E, litigation as well, please.
Make a motion.
Oh, and you have one final.
Yep. Is there anybody here for final public comment?
Amy Hunteman, I'm on the board of the Goffstown Public Library Foundation. I just want to let everyone know that if you have more questions about the Once Upon a Pie event, the foundation, will be on the library lawn on Saturday of Giant Pumpkin Weekend. So you can see us there too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mark?
Make a motion to go to non-public session, RSA 91A:3, 2 for A, compensation, and E, litigation.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Collis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
That's a roll call vote.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Mark? Yes.
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 That'll conclude tonight's public portion of the meeting.